This week on the Computer Chronicles, how to find a job online. We'll show you hotjobs.com, one of the leading online recruiting sites, and guru.com, the place to go if you're a freelancer looking for an assignment. Some employers do all their recruiting online. We'll meet the head of e-recruiting for Cisco to find out why. And if you or your child is headed to college, we'll show you a unique recruiting website that could pay the bills. Finding a job online, coming up next on the Computer Chronicles. Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by PC to PC, the online computer migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. Additional support is provided by Upside Events, presenting the Digital Lifestyle Revolution Conference, where people and technology intersect. Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Well, the news these days seems to be about layoffs and staff cutbacks, and for the first time in a while, looking for a job may be a more challenging task than it's been in the past. The good news is the internet. It has become the premier place for finding a good job, and today we're going to show you how to use the web to match yourself up with the ideal employer. Here to help us get started is Scott Clark of hotjobs.com. How you doing, Scott?
Very good. Good morning.
Scott, let me ask you, there's several big sort of job-finding websites out there. You're the guys who plunked $1 million down for the Super Bowl ad this year. How do you guys position or distinguish yourselves? Are they all the same? Are they slightly different?
Definitely a difference amongst the job sites. You can talk about the quality and precision of the searches. You can talk about the thousands of opportunities across all the different types of industries that are out there. But I feel the major differentiating factor about HotJobs was twofold: privacy and choice.
All right, well, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Let's get to the choice part first, I guess. Let's start from the basics. I'm out there looking for a job or a better job. I go to is this your homepage I get to right here? How do I begin the process? Do I already have my resume and I upload it? Do I create it online? How's this work?
We give you the tools to create it online. You can go through, we call it a resume wizard, where you can simply cut and paste information. The fields will directly HTML your resume, make it look great, make it easy for the employers to find it.
All right, let's show us some of the process here. So I begin. Do you give me advice beyond just getting up the resume? I mean, do you sort of hold my hand in the job finding process in general?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. In fact, the best way to start is right here at the top. You'll see we have a little button here to post your resume. Now you can, again, cut and paste your resume. You can fill out our fields. If you go down to the bottom, you'll notice there are career tools. These tools will help you both in forming your resume, in practicing for your interviews.
All right, so how to look for benefits, how to ask the right questions.
Exactly.
Office humor.
Office humor.
Okay, interviewing tips, that's cool.
Exactly, exactly. Answering tough questions.
And advice on how to put together a hot
Exactly,
resume.
here's help with your resume. We even give assistance of when it's time for you to leave your current employer to move on. We'll give you the help there too.
All right, now you mentioned the privacy bit. I want to ask you about that. If I go out there looking for a job and I currently have one, obviously I don't want my current employer to know I'm out there in the job market, and I'm worried that they're going to go online and see that he's out there looking for a job. Can I prevent that?
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the biggest fears out there from job seekers, especially the passive applicant who wants to actually find a new position but doesn't want to be caught by their employer.
Right. So what do you do?
We have a system where you can actually block your resume from specific companies. If you go through, you'll see you can come down and actually type in the company name that you want to block. So let's say I work for Intel. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and type Intel in there. And I'm going to return all the companies that use HotJobs that have the word Intel in the resume, in the job description.
Central Intelligence Agency,
exactly.
That's a good one.
If it's good enough for the CIA, we go ahead, we click Intel.
Okay.
And we'll come down and we use the hot block feature. And now effectively, any recruiter, hiring manager from Intel will not be able to see my resume, yet I can still be found by other employers.
So if I'm the Intel HR person and I'm going out there looking for people, that person won't be able to find my resume.
Even if I meet the description that recruiter is looking for.
All right, now you mentioned something else. I can actually make my resume like my own URL, a little website for myself?
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of my favorite features, is that you can actually have your own website. If you notice, it comes down and says, make your resume a public URL on the web. We will host that for you. There's no fee. And if you just click that simple button, you come back down, you'll notice that there it is. There's your new website address.
Okay.
Give you an idea, we click on that, and sure enough, here's your nicely formatted resume.
There's Scott Clark.
All right.
Okay, we got a job for you, Scott.
All right, excellent.
All right, let's talk about a couple other things. Finding the right job. Now, you mentioned one of the features is how good the search capabilities are, the different job sites. That's key, obviously. There's, I don't know, how many hundreds of thousands of jobs you have out there. I want to find the couple that are right for me. How do I begin that process?
I believe the best feature and one that our job seekers really, really like is what we call the search agent. And it allows them to actually set up the criteria, set up locations, things of that nature, and every time a job comes up on the site that meets those descriptions, you will get it via email directly in your inbox.
Okay, so it's proactive. It's not just my looking for a job. I can say, if a job like this happens, tell me that an employer has posted that.
Exactly, exactly.
So what are we doing right here? How
Well,
does this
here
work?
we've got a little sample set up. If you go ahead, if you're looking to find a new programming position, you can name your agent to remind yourself of what this agent is for. You type in some keywords, skill sets, in this case Java, Unix, and C++. I'd like to work for an internet or new media company. And I mentioned choice before. Here you can choose whether you want to see jobs just from employers, perhaps from some search firms to help you find a new position. Okay. You go ahead and choose the location, submit. And now again, whenever a new job comes on Hot Jobs that meets those descriptions, you will be emailed and they will tell you.
Let me ask you another question. If I go on and see the jobs available listings here, how do I know these are real jobs from real employers?
Again, very good question. We look at the choice. We will actually show you and ask you right off the bat, would you like to see positions from the principal organization doing the hiring? Would you like to see a position that a staffing firm wants to help you get?
Okay, so you do sort those differently.
Correct.
So I can see it's some middle guy who's just looking to hustle business versus the employer.
Correct. And even if you're unsure, when the jobs do come delivered to you, we actually differentiate them as well. Yeah. The employer's jobs are highlighted in blue.
Last question, does it cost me money to use the service?
No, sir.
Okay, just sort of go on there and do it?
Yes.
How do you make your money?
From the employers.
Okay, sounds good. All right, one of the big job trends over the last few years, in fact, has been the move away from full-time staff jobs to freelance jobs. So if what you're looking for is an independent contractor gig, well, you can find that on the web also. Helping us figure out how to do that is John Slavitt, co-founder of Guru.com. Hi, John.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Oh, sure. Now, this is a different scene right now. It's same idea, but slightly different. So let's go to your website here. Sure. And I guess the first thing, instead of a resume, I want to tell people what my expertise is, right?
Correct.
How do I do that?
Well, it's pretty simple. And I'm going to click into the independent professional track of our site.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to go over and show you what a completed profile looks like. I've actually bookmarked a couple of my favorite gurus. I actually have to log in to use this feature.
Okay, so this could be, if you were one of these freelance guys or an independent contractor, this is your description
Correct.
Up on Guru.
Exactly. This is my professional profile.
Okay.
So this is a lady named Stacy, and she's an executive coach who works in California.
All right, again, so if I'm looking for somebody who's an executive coach, this is what I would find when I go onto the site.
Correct. So she's created a profile. It takes really between a few minutes and about half an hour. We encourage people to give us as much information as possible, skills, experience, etc. So that's where you start with a profile. And of course, the major reason that professionals come to our site is to find projects.
Right. Yeah, that's the next one. So I post my profile, kind of like my resume. Now I want to know who's looking for people with my skills on a contract job basis.
Exactly. There are really two ways you can find a project. The first is that companies can come to the site and actually look for you. So this is my personal Guru page, and there's actually an employer who sent me a project invite called Strategic Planner. That's the name of the project. So I can click in there and check out the project. As you can see, it's a $25,000 project. It's in San Francisco. It looks kind of cool. If I want to apply for that project, I click Accept Invitation and then go through the process of actually pitching the gig, proposing a rate. So that's the first way I can find projects. The other way is I can actually search the Guru marketplace for projects that may fit my skills.
All right, so they may find me, I go look for them, and that's what we're doing.
You don't have to be passive, you can be proactive. Okay. So I'm going to type in Java. Let's say I have Java skills.
I'm a Java programmer again.
And okay, I've returned 36 projects that fit Java. But let's say I work out of New York, and I
only want jobs in New York.
Yeah, I want to filter by New York. I'm a little overwhelmed by 36 projects. So I've got 9 matches in New York. I can scroll down. Project Java, let's check that one out. And it's $100 an hour, 40 hours a week for 32 weeks. That looks kind of cool. I can submit a proposal and go through the same process of actually trying to apply for that gig and win it. So there are two ways you can find projects, passive and active.
All right, now the life of a freelancer is a little bit more complicated than the life of an employee. You've got to deal with your own insurance issues and all these other kinds of sort of service things that an employee doesn't worry about. Do you give a freelancer help at all in that way?
Absolutely. A key part of our site is offering expert information and key services, so I'll show you some of that stuff. On the header here, we have a section called Articles and Advice. We've actually put together a core of guru advisors who are absolute experts in their field.
So these are gurus.
These are the guru. Yeah, this is the guru's guru list. One of them is named Dan Pink. He's actually one of the chief contributing editors at Fast Company. Has been an independent professional.
This is sort of an e-zine for freelancers.
It's an e-zine for freelancers. It's part of our site. We have information on getting started, legal advice, tax and financial advice, the technology and gear you need to be an independent professional, plus all of the sort of how do I do those kinds of things best. An example would be making a great presentation. We have a guru here named Robert.
Professor Podium.
Professor Podium. So it's all the info you need to do your business the best you can.
Now, how about that services part? I mean, you know, you've got to bill people, you got to figure out how to collect money, all those kinds of issues.
Absolutely.
What can I learn about that on Guru?
Well, once you get that project, whether it's from Guru or any other source, we actually let you manage the project with a tool on our site called Time and Billing. So I've come here to the Time and Billing homepage. I can manage the time, the expenses, send in an invoice, and we actually help you collect. Because one of the biggest problems that independent professionals have is getting paid.
Right.
Exactly, collecting on the invoice. So
what do you do there? I mean, what kind of advice or service do you offer there?
On the collections?
Yeah.
We actually have a partnership with National Collection Systems.
Oh, really?
You can submit your invoice to them, and they'll collect for you.
Oh, okay. Anything else you want to show us on here?
One last thing. We have a section called Guru Services. One of the other big problems that independent professionals have is getting insurance. We actually have a partnership to sell insurance in most states across America.
So if I want to get health insurance, I can actually figure that out here too?
Absolutely. It's actually health insurance in addition to dental, professional liability. That's a big issue for independent people.
Sure. Okay, and now again, does this service cost me money as the professional? Do I pay a fee to you?
No, the employer pays 5% on the size of the project if we successfully match them to a contractor. So the company pays to the guru, it's free.
So if I'm looking for the freelancer, I've got to give you 5% of what the
if
job
you
is.
find someone, but only on a success basis if it works.
Sure. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, well, coming up next, we're going to show you how potential employers are using the web to recruit you for their company. Don't go away, there's more to come. Most job applicants on the web only see the process from the employee's side. How are employers using the web to fill job vacancies? Here to give us the inside story from the HR department is Shanil Kadarali, Director of E-Recruiting for Cisco. Hi, Shanil.
Hi, Stuart.
First of all, this is your job to find people online to fill jobs,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And you've put together some pretty impressive numbers here. Just go through what the dimension of this whole internet hiring business is about.
Sure. Well, at Cisco, 81% of all our hires come off the internet.
81%.
81%. And basically, we know from our research that about 150 million people are on the internet, and about close to 30 to 40 million resumes are out there.
30 to 40 million resumes are online right now.
And basically about 6 to 8 or so are going to be in these career sites, as noted. 5 to 7, give or take, are in virtual communities. And then there's about 10, 15 in ISP servers. And then there's a whole set scattered around in different online directories.
All right, let's go to your website where you actually do your work. And I guess the first point is, if you're looking for a job, it's nice to have the hot jobs and the monsters and all that, but you might want to go to the Cisco site. You guys have how many thousands of jobs open now?
We have about close to 4,000 jobs open.
Okay. So if I wanted to find out about what Cisco has, is your site sort of just like the hot jobs we saw before?
Exactly. I mean, the first thing we do is encourage everyone is to visit our site.
Okay.
If you really want to work for Cisco, this is the place to come. Right there on our homepage, cisco.com, you can just go to Hot Jobs at Cisco. And right there, we've got a couple of different ways, like, for example, how to apply. First, of course, you're going to do your job search, find out the specific job that you're looking for. If you're a network engineer or systems engineer in sales, finance, management, whichever
You've got basically
area.
the same tools that you would see on an open job site rather than just your company's one.
Exactly. And here are a couple of different ways how to apply. There's Profiler. There's, of course, email, fax. Let me here just take you quickly to Profiler. And what a candidate can do is create a profile. And right there, it just says create a profile.
Right. And just basically post your resume to the Cisco site.
Enter
What's that
in their
little
data.
button on the right there?
Oh, it says, oh no, my boss is coming. So just in case if you're doing this at work, you click on that, and 7 habits of a successful employee.
I love my boss.
Yeah.
Right. All right, so we go on your site. How about beyond your site? I mean, obviously you're going to look at the Cisco site and who's applied. What do you do as a recruiter to go find people?
Well, we do a couple of things. Obviously, we use Monster and HotJobs, but we also use a variety of different internet recruiting techniques.
Like?
One of them is very similar, just going out on the web, using some of the search engines to identify.
Let's go to a search engine.
Yeah.
Show us how you would do that.
Quick, sure.
Because
right
you
there.
wouldn't think of that.
And just quickly go to Alta Vista. It has about a good 300 million pages indexed out there on the web. So if I'm looking for a candidate, I'm just going to type in, for example, resume and let's say systems engineer, because that's a kind of a hard position for us to find. And of course, I'm going to use these what are referred to as Boolean operators and uppercase and quotation marks. And let's say routers. And then I'm going to click on search quickly.
So that's you would just search the whole web looking for people who would have these keywords.
Exactly. And then if I just go down this particular example, there's a couple of resumes, a couple of job ads. If I want to kind of hone in and do a better search, right there where it says resume, I'm just going to type in title : resume, and I'm going to use all these different, I'm going to use just very simple internet recruiting techniques to go and find specifically candidates.
Sure. So this idea that Scott mentioned earlier of making your resume a web page is a darn good idea then.
Oh, it's a great idea. If you go out to a virtual community like GeoCities or Lycos, create your home page, because one of our recruiters is going to find you. And if you want to be found, I mean, your information is definitely available out to us.
Now, would you go out to a HotJobs or a Monster.com to find people too?
Yes,
just show us what that looks like from the recruiter side.
Sure. I'll just go, for example, to Monster. And for us, we go where it says for employers. So I'll click on that. And then right there, for example, quick search.
So again, you're going to do a kind of keyword search.
Keyword search.
So again, that thing the guy from HotJobs talked about is make sure you have the right keywords in your resume because they got to match what you guys are looking for.
And more specifically, talk about what you're doing and your accomplishments on your resume, because that's what the e-recruiters are looking for.
Okay. Now, there's another site a lot of people aren't familiar with, but you e-recruiters are, and that's this AIRS site. So show that to us and tell us what that does.
Well, airsdirectory.com, they are basically they're an internet recruiting portal. They're a portal for e-recruiters. So if we're looking for candidates, we're going to go to this site, and it has a listing of a whole bunch of different career sites for us.
So this will get you to the Monster, to the HotJobs, to the all.
But it'll also get us to the niche sites. So if you're a finance analyst and you want a job in finance with a technology company, this is a great place to come to. If you're an engineer, software engineer, this is also a great place to come to.
So this is a good site for the employee looking for a job also, not just the recruiters like you.
Exactly.
So just run us through here. What do we find on AIRS?
I'm just going to go to the search tool here. It's called Search Station. And I just put in my username and password. And just to give you a quick idea what an e-recruiter can do is right there's a whole section here on the left, resume search, resume banks. I'll just go to resume banks quickly because that's what we're talking about. And right here, all I have to do is put in keywords, but it's going to search all these passwords.
So this is like a shopping agent, right? Only it's a job agent to go out on all the websites and find the people that meet your criteria.
Exactly, for e-recruiters.
Great. Very cool. Thank you, Chanel.
Thank you.
Well, you might not think of this as looking for a job, but each year hundreds of thousands of high school seniors who are athletes go in search of the right college that will essentially hire them as a football player or basketball player. And there are actually websites that specialize in that kind of job placement. One of them is leveledge.com, and here to tell us about it is their CEO, Lisa Henderson. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Stuart.
So let's talk about this. This is sort of, I mean, you treat this like a job recruitment site in a way, right?
Yeah, to some degree we do. And actually, the first step is putting together that very critical resume. And in our case, it happens to be sports resume.
All right, and I'm a high school guy who plays baseball.
Yes.
And so I want to get hooked up with the right college, the right school, the right coach, and hopefully the right scholarship. How do I do that?
Well, you're going to visit the Level Edge Athlete Center, and what you're going to do is create what we call a MyEdge profile. And a MyEdge profile captures,
like my resume.
Like your resume, only it captures all of your athletic performance metrics, the position you play and your batting average, et cetera, as well as your academic information.
So would I create this on my own? Do you guys do it for me? How does that work?
Yeah, we actually have a simple form that you go in, fill out, and it creates the profile for you.
All right, so basically I've posted my resume online now as this baseball player. Now what happens, now what else can I do? You've got other things on there I noticed like camp directors. What does that mean?
Yeah, we have other services. So like a job site that may point you as a programmer to take an additional HTML class, we're going to help you find those skill camps that improve your batting average And you know, you're a baseball player, Stuart.
Okay.
So an example would be Frozen Ropes Baseball Academy, where you would come into our site, we would point you to that. You can register for the particular baseball camp or soccer camp and improve your resume.
All right, so just like I might want to go take a class that helps me get a better SAT score, you're going to lead me to places that would help me improve my performance as an athlete to better qualify.
Yes.
Okay. What else can we do here? Now, let's talk about the recruiter's point of view. Let's say I'm an athletic director or a coach or something. How do I now go to your site to find the people I'm looking for?
Well, it works just like any other job site where that recruiter would have a specific login and password that would allow them to access our database of athletes. So we're going to log in. I'm going to log in as a football coach, actually.
All right, so you're looking for football players, high school football players.
Looking for football players. Once I get into the recruiting center, then I can search on any number of criteria for a particular athlete. So in this case, we're going to look for a high school senior, and let's just pick a GPA. And I could pick, you know, number of touchdowns, number of
minimum
yards.
SAT score, the athletic, again, and the athletic and the academic minimum requirements.
Absolutely. So we're going to go in and search the Level Edge database, and I'll identify those athletes that meet my criteria.
All right,
so here's a list
these are
of
all the football players that are in the database that you can figure out who might work in my school.
Absolutely. So I'm specifically looking for a running back.
Okay.
So I'm going to click on this particular profile and get all the information about this athlete.
Okay, and then the next step would be if I want to say, oh, I'd like to talk to Brandon, then I just send him an email or
Yeah, our system allows you to contact the athlete via email.
all right. It's sort of a matchmaking site in that sense here.
Absolutely. The key for us is, though, that we tie our communications so that they meet NC2A requirements as well.
All right, so you're in a kind of special situation here. You've got rules from the NCAA limiting how a college and an athlete can talk and so on, right?
Unfortunately, unlike a job recruiter, we can't just contact any particular athlete. We have to
Interesting.
meet specific guidelines in that context.
All right, now let me ask you what the Coach Center is. What do you do there? You explained the camp director. Is that the same thing?
The Coaches Center is where a high school tournament or a junior college coach would actually manage their team. And what that means is that they are providing us statistics, performance statistics on particular athletes. And it could be, in this case, it's a basketball tournament. So all of these teams used our system to manage their athletes during this particular tournament.
Okay,
so you can
this
see,
might be a high school coach or somebody who's managing a tournament involving high school athletes.
Absolutely. And what we provide for the high school coach is a vehicle for not only managing their team, but analyzing their team's performance. So that becomes a critical component to the coaches as well.
All right, so in other words, if I'm a college coach, I may go to this high school tournament to scout the kids and see how well they're doing, and this would actually give me the data to support my observations?
Absolutely. So the data that's coming in on a particular athlete's performance at a game or a tournament is coming from the coach. So it's validated through that input. And you can see that I can now analyze everything about that particular
And
game
how
and that
does a particular
athlete.
individual do also? Finally, you have something called the Parent Center. What would that be?
The Parent Center is really designed to help parents manage their student athletes. As we mentioned earlier, there are lots of things that you need to know when you are working with the NC2A and working with colleges and universities around scholarships. So we have...
So the sort of ins and outs of this recruitment process for
it's
parents.
the ins and outs, absolutely.
Yeah. And, yeah, I see. And of course, finally, I mean, your job seekers, if you will, happen to be minors here, right? They're kids under 18 generally, so you've got to be a little more delicate about privacy and protecting their information.
That's correct. You saw in every instance that we went in to look at a particular athlete or a particular team that I had to have a login name and a password.
Okay.
That is to protect, ultimately protect the athletes.
LevelEdge.com. Thank you very much, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right, that's our look at finding a job online. Don't go away. I'll be back in just a moment with my pick of the week, a terrific new game if your sport is auto racing. Don't go away. Now for my pick of the week. NASCAR racing has reached a new level of awareness lately, partly as a result of increased TV coverage on the Fox network and partly due to the publicity surrounding the recent tragedy at the Daytona 500. Well, there are, miraculously enough, millions of NASCAR racing fans out there, and now there is a new software simulation that is really good. It is called NASCAR Racing 4 from Sierra and Papyrus, the masters of auto racing simulations. This new version of NASCAR racing has lots of new enhancements and features, including a new 3D physics engine for more realistic racing action, a new 3D graphics engine that improves the realism of the cars, access to 21 different Winston Cup tracks, and cars from all 4 major NASCAR manufacturers, including the new Dodge Intrepid. It was a time when you could only get good racing car action in an arcade, maybe on a dedicated game console. But if you've got a Pentium 3, 128 megs of RAM, this baby will rock. And of course, if you plug in a racing steering wheel and foot pedals, it makes these games so realistic you can get very wrapped up in the tension of the race. Ironically, one of the racers featured in the game is the late Dale Earnhardt Sr., and the game is endorsed by his son, Dale Earnhardt Jr. The game is called NASCAR Racing 4 from Sierra and Papyrus. It runs on all versions of Windows, and it'll cost you about $49. That's it for this week's Chronicles. If you have any questions about anything you saw on this week's show, please check out our website at computerchronicles.org. And I hope we'll see you here again next week. Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by PC to PC, the online computer migration service from PC First, moving files, applications, and preferences from your old computer to your new one. Additional support is provided by Upside Events, presenting the Digital Lifestyle Revolution Conference, where people and technology intersect.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, computer and internet security. We'll meet a guy who hacks for a living. He'll show us how easy it is to break into your computer. This is software called Freedom, designed to protect your security and privacy when you're online. Anybody sent you a cute game or greeting card online lately? We'll show you why it could have a Trojan horse in it. And if you think it's cool to beam business cards from PDA to PDA, watch out. It's just another way to get infected with a nasty virus. Computer and internet security, next week on the Computer Chronicles.